Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Popular Nigerian Nollywood actress Ireti Doyle is a well-known actress in the film industry of Nigeria. The film diva, producer, presenter, and writer, who holds a degree in theatre arts and mass communication from the University of Jos, began acting in the early 90s. She has featured in two top Nollywood box office movies of 2018, namely Merry Man and Wedding Party.
Indeed. She has also been nominated for several awards, including Best Actress category at the 1998 Real Awards and Best Actress in a Leading Role at the 2013 Best of Nollywood Awards.
She joins us now to discuss the challenges of Nigeria's film industry, involvement in Nollywood's project, and Netflix involvement in Nollywood.
Fantastic.
Really exciting
Hello,
stuff.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We're more than thrilled to have you here. And let's talk about your journey. Jos, it all started from Jos?
It all started in Jos, 1995. A young lady at the time, Evelyn Obaho, walked up to me. I worked in the civil service at the time, and she said, "I think you can act." And I said, Anyway, I took up the challenge. Sadly, I think she was way ahead of her time. That project never saw the light of day. Then fast forward 1995, the late great Matt Dadzi, producer of Riddles and Hopes, auditioned me, and that's how I got my first paid role.
You're working in civil service where? Industrial
Training Fund for 8 years, yes.
Wow.
I started out as a radio operator, and then from there I got promoted to, I can't even remember what it was, so far behind. But I worked in the public relations department, and even though I was a junior staff, I was saddled with senior staff duties, maybe because of my outgoing nature and stuff like that. But yeah, that was the first place I got paid employment.
And you've never looked back since then, since acting?
No. Before acting more or less exploded, I had done a couple of things. For several years, this was my job, anchoring Today on STV, which was an early morning breakfast show. I had produced my own show for several years. Yeah, and then I think it was in 2010 that acting just took, you start out in this business waiting for the big break, and if you're smart, you're doing other things along the journey, honing other skills, hopefully, luckily for you, trying to generate other sources of income, because as a professional actor, if that's all you're doing, I mean, it's guaranteed that you're going to spend a large chunk of your time underemployed or not employed at all. So if you're smart and you have the opportunity, you're acquiring other skills, which was what I was doing, writing, producing, presenting.
Well, you're doing new films that are, critically celebrated at the moment, such as Merry Man, Wedding Party, and 50. Nollywood is gaining global attention in recent times for the good reasons this time around. Does that put pressure on you as an actress?
Even before the global recognition, there was always pressure. You're only as good as your last show. And then, personally speaking, I hold myself to very high standards, and I am my own biggest critic. So it doesn't matter how. In fact, the more successful the last film, the more the pressure is to outperform myself and be better than I was the last time. And yeah, you're always hoping, on behalf of the producers, on behalf of the people who put the funding down, on behalf of the people who take who actually take the risks by producing these projects. You wish them well. You wish them more and more success. Not just artistic success, but also money in the box office and things like that. The more successes you have, the more it continues. So yes, there is, and the pressure is all put on me by me.
Because you're interpreting the role.
No, because I aspire to excellence.
Great.
Okay, let's talk about the money part. Nollywood money. A lot of people say it could be way better than this if we had a lot more money in it. Would you say the money has been commensurate to the stories you've told?
What are you talking? When you say
earnings,
money, exactly. Are you talking in terms of earnings or in terms of
production budget, and afterwards earnings?
Let's be honest. We don't have the kind of budgets that our counterparts in other parts of the world have. That's one. You need to understand the nature of the business that you're in. You need to understand how it works, where you thrive. That said, they're able to do some magic with the budgets that they do have to play with. Let's be honest, how many really big budget movies come out every year? Not too many. You can count them in maybe one or two hands max. People who can actually, excuse me, go all out and, you know, put together the kind of budget that it takes to shoot a really great film. That said, do I think that they're doing the best that they can with the budget that they do have? Honestly speaking, I would say no. And hey, let me qualify it. We will all see things through the prism of our own experiences and from our particular points of view. I'm an actor. It makes absolutely no sense putting millions and millions of naira on equipment if you're going to tell the crappy story using substandard actors. Do you understand? I think, yes, technical costs are extremely high, but like I always want to say, remember that every single thing you're putting together, the camera, the fantastic script, the costumes, the ace director, the funding, it doesn't mean a thing if you do not have a proficient actor to come and tie all these elements together and give you and reenact a fantastic story. I'm yet to see a member of the audience who goes to the cinema to go and watch camera angles. No. They are going to watch a beautifully told story as portrayed by actors via the vision of a director. I'm not saying that any one aspect of movie or film production is irrelevant. No. All these elements have to work together. But the actor must be given their fair due, because a lot of it is in fact, everything that you've put together is riding on the shoulders of an actor.
Well, you are seasoned, you're principled, and you're professional at what you do. And I just want to ask you if there has been any role you've had to turn down. What determines what you take on as an actress, and that has brought you this far? And in relation to what you just told us now in responding to Rufai's question about the industry, the talent especially, what do you make of it? Because a lot of people will say it's now an all-comers game.
Well, social media has given that impression, that it's an all-comers game. I hear stories of some producers basing their casting on the number of followers an individual has as opposed to proficiency. But hey, what you see is what you get. An actor is someone who has there's quite a difference between a very popular person and an actor. Do you understand? I'm not even sure that I'm using the right words to capture that. But let me go back to your first story. What determines my choice in picking a role? Let me say this right off the bat. In the early years, you don't have a choice. Or rather, if what you're determined to do is to make a name for yourself, you're not thinking about being choosy. You're thinking about being seen. So, you know, we can at first acknowledge that there is talent here. But as time goes on, hopefully, you put together a body of work that puts to rest any doubt anybody has about your proficiency. And hopefully, at that time as well, when this happens, you're in a strong enough position to be able to turn certain things down, because there's also the economic consideration. This is your source of livelihood. Now, what draws me to a movie, a script or a character? It has to be well written. It can't be difficult to read, and I'm talking about something as not so simple as grammatical errors and badly written English. I believe that if a script is badly written, chances are it's not going to be a great production. Okay. Do you understand? So let's not even...
And how rampant are those in the industry?
How rampant is badly produced stuff in Nigeria? You know, we tend to believe that. I think maybe because our industry is so visual, we're out there. Do you understand? So there are high expectations. No, we operate within the Nigerian environment. Okay? So everything that applies in almost every industry applies here as well, but it's amplified because it's television, it's film. Do you understand? It's supposed to be larger than life, and we seem to have high expectations of its practitioners. But hey, we're Nigerians operating within the Nigerian context.
Another thing I'd like to talk about is acting itself. There's sort of like a dearth of quality actors, and that's what a lot of people are saying.
No.
No. A dearth of quality actors, and I'll go back to your concept of there are more popular people, there are more good-looking people, not necessarily actors that can adequately interpret.
I place the blame squarely at the feet of the producers and the casting directors who are casting these people. I have absolutely no problem with that. Do you understand? You can cast, if you're, he who pays the pipers dictates the tune. But hey, if you're going for a popular face or someone who has numbers as opposed to a trained actor who knows and understands what they're doing, what you see is what you get. Do now not say that actors are irresponsible or unprofessional. No, you did not hire an actor. You hired a popular person. You hired an Instagram personality. You hired a reality show star. You did not hire an actor. Do you understand? And there's nothing wrong with that. When you pick somebody like that, have you taken the time to put them through?
We'll quickly go on a break. We'll come back and we'll talk about this.
You started this.
Join us again.
Welcome back to the Morning Show on Arise News. We still have the beautiful and the wonderful Screen Diva, Ireti Doyle. And we've been having this conversation up there.
So I'd like to pick up where I left off before I misconstrued. There is nothing wrong with a producer wanting to use a popular person or the person of the moment. However, have you taken times to do a crash course with them through what will be required? So they at least have some sort of inkling of what to expect and what is expected of them. Everybody thinks that acting is just standing in front of a camera and spewing forth lines. No, it's much more than that. So I beg to disagree. There is no dearth of proficient actors out there. It is entirely up to the producers to look for them and put them to work. They present themselves on the daily. But Mr. Madam Producer, what is your end game? When you go, it's exploitation of some sort. You want to exploit that person's popularity. Okay, this is the person of the moment. This is
not what the market wants, really?
It really, market wants, but no.
Is that not, not bad, but the popular face. Is that not what the market wants?
We have so many Nigerian constructs, things that we just spew forth that are based on what? Really? Okay, you use that person and why are they, that's why it's called the flavor of the month. You use them, they're gone, on to the next set. Do you understand? They're gone, on to the next set, which is fine if it's for advertising. You said proficient acting. It's two different things. Okay, you use that popular face who is not an actor, who has no idea what they're doing, who has absolutely no training. You put millions of naira together, you put it in the cinema, and it's a flop.
How does that make you feel as a professional in the industry when you see this trend? And it is a trend, we see it happening.
The only parts of it that frustrates me is when they say actors are unprofessional. When you lump non-actors with actors and, make a blanket statement based on the bad behavior of a few who really are ignorant at best, pardon me. That's the part that irritates me. Call it what it is. You're dealing with a bunch of young people who, frankly, don't know what they're doing. You haven't trained them, you haven't talked them through it. You just take them, from one point and boom, you tell them they're star actors.
But there's another angle to it. Even the so-called proficient actors.
Who are they? I don't like such terms, such as...
even the proficient actors in this country.
Again, who are they? Do you understand? That's just a term.
That's just a term.
You need to differentiate.
So, there's a case of ego. A case of massive ego that the producers complain of. How do you balance that out?
Let me tell you straight up, every actor has an ego. Anybody who has the audacity to start, actors, musicians, performers of any sort, it takes a lot of ego to stand up and say, okay, look at me, I'm performing. The difference is that between the one who has learned to manage it and the other. Do you understand? But I have found from what I have seen, from my experience, and that's not to say that there aren't badly behaved actors out there. There are. Do you understand? But I often find that ego, words like ego, diva, are often used by producers who do not want to do things properly. When you insist on doing things properly, when you insist on being treated right, when you know your worth, and again, it's not peculiar to the Nigerian industry, it is a Nigerian thing. When you know your worth, when you want things to, when you demand that at least when you're dealing with me, you will do things properly, when you demand what you consider to be your market value, when you demand, when you know your rights and you demand for them, you will be labeled difficult, you will be labeled as being you having an ego and stuff like that. Let's talk about the growth
of the industry.
Okay.
The global streaming platform service, Netflix, has set its eye on Nollywood for a while now, a couple of years. But it was just last year that it acquired Lionheart, Genevieve's movie, as its first Netflix original film from Nigeria. How much of a game changer is that? And do you think that this will help eliminate the low-budget, quick shooting movies, Nigerian movies are sometimes known for, mostly known for?
I think Netflix and the purchase of Lionheart was a fantastic move for all of us. Well done to Genevieve. It was beautifully shot. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it opens doors for greater opportunities. I believe that now you know what's expected. At least there's a template. You want to be on this platform, this is the barest minimum at which you have to play and perform. Will it shut down the low budget? I think not. We're a nation of how many million and counting. There will always be a market for that. Hey, even in Hollywood, there are A-class, what do you call them? B films, and things like that. They're categorized. I beg, there's a market for this thing. And it's okay. But even that market is trying to improve. They're trying to improve on this. Everybody wants to compete in a bigger market and, and to a wider audience. So there will be general improvement all across board eventually. But
another angle that I want to take it to is, what about our indigenous streaming sites? What has been the relationship like? The likes of Iroquois of this world.
Iroquois is doing fantastic.
And the Acting Guild relationship?
I don't know. I have no information about that. Okay. I've never been part of the guild.
Okay. Why?
And that's all.
Just me asking.
The next time I come, I'd rather not this morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, when you look at the different segments of the industry, there seems to be a lot of focus and investment on distribution these days, like the Iroquois, the Netflix, and many others. But when it comes to production, we're not seeing much investment there. The few big movies we've seen in recent times, like Wedding Party, 50, Merry Men, they've been personal funding. Why do you think this is so?
When you say funding now, you mean people getting involved in that? Well, I could hazard a guess. I might be wrong. If you take care of distribution, if you can control distribution, it doesn't matter what the product is. As long as it's good, you're liable to make quite a bit of money. Production is money in, money in, money in. Distribution is where you take money out. And people usually go where there is profit. I might be wrong. I don't know. I'm more in front of the camera than behind. So, hey, maybe you want to ask the experts.
And what have you been doing in front of the camera recently?
Oh, well, I have 2 movies that are coming out later on this year. One next month, September 13th. And I assume that Merry Men 2 will be out sometime in December. For 10 years of my life, between the year 2000 and 2010, I produced and presented my own show, Oge with Ireti Doyle. I have reproduced that. Okay. It will start airing next month on DSTV, channel 151, I think. And there are a few other not so baby projects, but they're, like I said earlier, they're in my belly.
Yeah, you just have
yes, when I birth them, when they're about to be birthed, we will speak about them.
So, quick fire question, stage or camera?
Stage.
Why?
It's spontaneous, the energy is real. There's nothing like being in a room full of people and having them in the palm of your hands. It's instant, it's cutting edge, it keeps you on your toes and it keeps you humble. There are no second takes. Deliver or die.
Acting or producing?
My heart says acting, my mind says producing.
Low budget good story or big budget wacky story?
Low budget good story.
Writing.
Any more fire questions?
Future? No.
Future as regards what?
Future as regards producing.
Oh, I am going to be producing some things of my own. Oge being the first of them. Reason being, it's low-hanging fruit. It's something that I had done before. It was a brand that I had built and established before. So it just makes common sense to do it pretty quickly. And then from there are a couple of projects I'd like to produce and own somewhere down the line. And we're working on them. One will be a stage performance. And then maybe a series or two. I understand television, you know, better than I do film.
And very quickly, do you think there's any challenging role you haven't taken yet? And what would that be?
Maybe an action hero. Or, you know,
That would be good to work. Thank you so much, Ireti Doyle, for being on the
I've enjoyed
show.
being here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
And that brings us to the end of the morning show today. Thank you so much for watching. I am Adesua Omoran.
And I'm Rufai.